All right, Cole, moving into the last part. We're going to talk about the Calvin cycle. But first, a joke. What is a thylakoid's favorite breakfast beverage? Sunny E. You know, because of the electrons and the sun.
What?
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Photosynthesis, part 3 in 3D. All right, so we have our ingredients, our NADPH, right? We have our NADPH, we have our ATP, and then we also, from the air around the plant, we have the CO2 coming in. And so we're ready for the Calvin cycle. Kind of sad that there's no Hobbes cycle, but anyways. Also known as the dark reactions. Okay? They're the dark reactions. They're the reactions that happen in like Mordor or someplace like that. Anyways. So the dark reactions are called that because sunlight is not required. Okay? So no sun needed for these to take place. Okay? Now, where do the dark reactions happen? Where does the Calvin cycle happen? Anybody recall?
In humans.
No, it happens in plants.
Oh.
And where in the thylakoid, though?
In the stroma.
In the stroma, right? So not in the thylakoid. I meant to say where in the chloroplast. In the stroma, which is all that empty fluid. Well, it's fluid, but it's the empty space around the thylakoids. So and we saw a little thylakoid, and the little ETC goes actually out into the stroma, so stuff just gets out of the thylakoid, out of the membrane, and into the stroma. What's the main function of the Calvin cycle? To make what? Glucose, that's right.
Glucose.
Okay? Its goal is to make glucose, okay? So we've gone through a lot of steps here just to get to the end result, which is making glucose, okay? Which is what the plant is trying to do. But you got to do things in steps to get the finished thing, okay? So, what are the reactants? Well, we just listed them up top there, so I gave you a little cheat sheet, right? CO2, ATP, and NADPH. Okay? Those are our reactants that are going to go into this. All right? And what's the product? Okay? It's glucose. Okay? Now, one thing I want you to know is that it takes 6 CO2 to make 1 glucose. All right? 6 CO2 to make 1 glucose. Okay? All right. So that's our basic fundamental information, okay? And then we're going to snip our section and talk about where the energy comes from and a brief description of the process that happens, okay? So I'm just going to scroll down here so that I have my last 3 things in a nice little box. There we go. Make sure my little label thing disappears there before I snip it. Perfect. And da-da-da-da. Okay. Now, what's the source of energy for the Calvin cycle? Well, it's not the sun, okay, because these are the dark reactions, not the light reactions, right? So the source of energy is the energy carriers, okay? Well, what are the energy carriers in this? Well, we know they're the things that are made by the light reactions. ATP is one, and NADPH is the other, okay? So those energy carriers provide the energy, okay? Because there's bonds between those in the molecules. When those bonds get broken, energy is released, and it's that energy that's released there that is then used to make new bonds and bond together the CO2 and stuff into lovely glucose. Okay, so the first thing that happens in the steps, right? Number 1, CO2 is split. We got to split it up in order to reassemble it. Okay? All right? right? 6 carbons. All right. Okay. Are used. Three are joined with another 3. Okay. And bonded to oxygen and hydrogen. And that's a lot of words, sorry. There's no other simple way to describe it, okay? So the 6 carbons are used, joined together, bonded with oxygen and hydrogen, okay, to make glucose, which is C6H12O6. Okay, this is what you end up with. So how many molecules of CO2 are required to make 1 molecule of glucose? I just told you a little earlier, it's in your notes if you look back.
6.
6, right? Because in order to have these 6, right, you got a 6 right here. In order to have 6 carbons, carbon dioxide only has 1 carbon, right? So you got to have 6 of them. Half of the oxygen is used. The other half, you actually have 3 O2s that go out of the plant into the air. Okay? All right, or are recycled. Okay. All right, good. Well, that concludes today's lesson on the steps of photosynthesis. Well done.